Because it doesn't cost anything.
No rehearsal required. Wow.
Ask that woman to leave, okay?
All right.
Oh, this is for Brian's show.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did you announce that?
Oh, you garden.
Oh, these are Delaney and
Well, they talk
fun with my iPad. Oh, that's awesome.
Well, can you just say hello to the people?
Yes. Very good, very good. Is proper volume there?
Yes, I will.
Good.
Don't be talking where I know.
All
Okay,
right.
love that line.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's your, we're talking to you, please, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Sound all right?
Beautiful.
Well done.
Turn her over.
We get to see those two.
These kids look bizarre. They born that way?
Eric Stock will introduce the Chaos Theory Orchestra.
Okay, we got Dr. Noise on keyboards. Dr. Noise.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Art, Art Lang from Waterloo on acoustic bass.
Yeah.
Kim Lundberg from the Faculty of Music Western on piano.
Yeah.
And Bernie Canning was called in very, very late in this enterprise, about 10 o'clock last night. There are two sections in the first half that involve, one is there's a storm background, and the other one is violent sex. So Bernie's playing temp for the storm segment and the violent sex segment.
All right, Bernie. Yeah.
Leave nothing to your
Typecasting. It's typecasting.
This is Bill Exley and the Chaos Theory Orchestra. According to Chaos Theory, a butterfly flapping its wings in China can ultimately cause a hurricane in North America. So we cannot tell what effect a small experiment might have. With this thought, we begin this night with the world premiere of an experiment, the classics and free jazz. The program will be in two parts of approximately 20 minutes each. In each part, I will read 4 different selections, which will then move into improvisation in each case by the Chaos Orchestra. I shall read in English a translation from Latin, which will then be recited. The Latin is by the Roman poet Virgil, 70 to 19 BC, that's 2,000 years ago, and is written in dactylic hexameter, that is, each line is 6 metrical feet. Boo, da-da, or boo, boo, that's all. Those are the only 2 feet permitted in dactylic hexameter. Now, this regularity is a total contrast with free jazz, obviously, where rhythm, tempo, and melody are not so restricted. This building around moods was suggested to me by Alexander Hacke and Daniel de Picciotto from Berlin, Germany, who did a similar thing, believe it or not, with the Nihilist Spasm Band 2.5 weeks ago in London, Ontario. That might be interesting. Part 1. Oh yes, I must tell the story about the man. Before I begin, I beg your pardon. I had a friend who was a very skeptical man, and I, many years ago, went out and bought a lottery ticket. And this man said to me, after I had bought the lottery ticket, I said, "What did you do?" I said, "I bought a lottery ticket." He said, "Oh, how much did you spend?" I said, "Oh," I told him how much it was. He said, "Oh, you're just a fool. You're going to be destroyed by that. You're going to have wasted your money." And so we chatted at great some time arguing about it. And finally, he went into his house and I went to my house because we were neighbors. And then the next morning, his wife came out and said to my wife, said, "What on earth were you talking about for so long with my friend, with my husband?" And he said, "Well, because I said, "Well, why do you ask?" She said, "Why do you ask?" She said, "Well, because after he talked to you, I came in and said to my wife after the discussion, I said, I was a fool. I bought this lottery ticket for no reason whatsoever. I'm just an idiot. And then the fellow said afterwards, well, my goodness, after the discussion, my husband went out and he bought a lottery ticket. The point being that we can persuade each other and we're not absolutely fixed in our views. Part 1, Virgil. This is from what is known as the Messianic Eclogue, interpreted to be the prophecy of the birth of Christ. It's the reason why one of the reasons why they never destroyed Virgil's work. I'll give the English translation first, and then I'll do the Latin, and then we'll be doing our improvisation. Now the last age of Cumai's prophecy has come, the great succession of centuries is born of flesh. Now too returns the Virgin, Saturn's rule returns, a new begetting descends from heaven's height. Look with blessing on the boy whose birth will end the Iron Age at last and raise a golden age throughout the world. Secelides musai Paulo maiora canones, non omnes arbusto and cumelis cumericae, si conomus silvais in conceladiniae. Ultima cumai venitiam carmenes aetos, magnas ab integros aeclorum noscator ordo, iam redit ad Virgo, redit Saturnia regna, iam nova progenie scaelo dimiteter alto, tu modo nascenti puero, quae feria primum desidet, ac toto surget gensoria mundo, casta fave lucina, tuus iam regna de Apollo. Ultima cumai venitiam carmenes aetos, iam redit et Virgo redum Saturnia regna, iam nova progenie scaelo dimiteter alto. Part 2, this is a storm. Now, Aeneas is the hero of the Aeneid, which was written by Virgil. You know, he tried to destroy it before he died. His last instructions were to the Emperor Augustus was to burn it. You see, it wasn't completed, it wasn't perfect. It had to be perfect according to him, and it wasn't, you see. But Augustus disobeyed his instructions and kept it. And so here we have this passage here this evening at Eric's. This is Aeneas standing firm against his lover Dido's persuasion. He stood firm like a strong oak tree toughened by the years, when northern winds from the Alps vie together to tear it from the soil with their blasts, striking it now this way and now that. Creaking, the trunk shakes and the leaves strew the ground. Yet still the tree grips among the rocks below, for its roots stretch as far down towards the abyss as the breeze reaches up to the airs of heaven. Like that tree, the hero was battered this way and that by their insistent pleas, and deeply his deep heart bleeds. Ac weled so validem cum robera quercum, alpini buriae, nunc flatibus illice rur inter se curtent, in stridor et altae, consternat terram concussos in silent scopulation quantum worth galora imperial stautem relic psychus et situis hincat quinc vocus eros tundetur et manio percentet pectora curos mains immotum manet lacrimae volunt renalis. But it wasn't always a storm. The noble hero Aeneas descended into the underworld. And here, in the 6th book of the Aeneid, we read the following passage. Here all the souls were hastening to the bank. As numerous were they as the leaves of the forest which fall at the first chill of autumn and float down. Or as the birds which flock from ocean deeps to the shore when the cold of the year sends them en route across the sea and sets them free to fly to sunshine lands. The souls stood begging to be the first to make the crossing and stretched their arms out in longing for the farther shore. But the surly boatman accepted now these and now those, and forced others back, not allowing them near the riverside. Sic omnes turbat repos effuseruebat, matres atque aurere defunctaque corpora vita, magnani mauro amperi in aptae puellae, impositique raugis iune santora parentem, quam multin silvis autumna frigera primo, lapsa cadent foliot et terram gurgat ab alto, quam multe glomerant araue subi frigatus annos, transpontem fugat et terris immitet apricis, stabat rantis primi transmittere cursum, tendebat quam manus repotiriores amore. Navitus et tristus sum nunc hos nunc acipit illos, Astelios longis sub motus agit arena. The Roman gods were very different from the gods that we're acquainted with. They did many things. This is a description of Venus, the goddess of love, having sexual relations with the Roman god Vulcan. So Venus spoke. Her husband was hesitant, but she passed her snow-white arms about him on this side and on that, and coaxed him with her caressing embrace. And suddenly, as always, he caught the flame. The familiar glow penetrated into his marrow and spread down his quivering bones, like the lightning crack, which will sometimes dart gleaming and sparkling through storm clouds, burst apart by a thunder flash. Dixarat nevi singat quinti lacerti tandem plexum molli favet illa rapendi cimpet solitum flamma natusque valens. Intravit calor et labefacta perossa concurrit, non shaquasat volem, anito cum rupta carusco, igna rima amigos, per curit lumen anembos. Non sacasat quolim, tonito cum rupta carusco, igna rima amigos, per curit lumen anembos. After a brief intermission, we shall continue this, but it will not be in Latin, it will be in ancient Greek, and every passage will be from Homer. Many of you have probably wondered what Homer sounds like. I think I will give you a very good idea of Homer. 2,700 years ago.
This is Homer.
I'm Homer Simpson, and they just told me to stand up here and talk to everybody tonight. So much, don't make fun of me.
That's what you're talking about.
We're serious, eh?
Huh?
We're serious.
Let's bring on Bill!
You can still hear that stuff on there.
Just pick your spot. Pick your spots.
Was that true to me?
Okay, very good. Again, part 2. This time we're moving into ancient Greece. Homer. We'll do the same thing. There are 4 passages with English translation by Richmond Lattimore, an American translator who translated the Iliad in 1951 and the Odyssey in 1965. Now, Homer lived in 725 BC, they think, if in fact he existed. There's huge dispute about all this, but several people I have read do think he did exist. Now, the ancient Greek accent is a tonal accent. That is to say, like Chinese. It's not a stress accent, such as what we have in English. Now, I'm an amateur, and the Latin I did is accurate. That's the way the Romans would have said it. The Greek is recreated by me, the amateur. Last winter, I went out into the street to do something, pick up a few things, and the police came by and said, "And who are you, sir? What is your name?" And I said, "My name is Bill Exley, and I live in that house over there." And she said, "Where?" And I pointed it out. And I thought, that's very odd. Why is he asking me that? And then the next day in the paper, I read that a person had escaped from the Alzheimer's ward at the local and obviously had figured out it was me. I do hope that you will not have that attitude as I do the tonal accent. All my translations are by Richmond Lattimore, and I begin with one quotation before I start at all. For with all peoples upon the earth, singers are entitled to be cherished and to their share of respect, since the Muse has taught them her own way, and since she loves the company of singers.
Being poets.
Part 1. This is not melancholy, this is not happy, this is just the human condition. The Iliad. As is the generation of leaves, so is that of humanity. The wind scatters the leaves on the ground, but the live timber bourgeons with leaves again in the season of spring returning. So one generation of men will grow, while another dies. Hoie pulon gene toi du kaengro. Pula to men tenemos havades hae. Dule til tau sentui. Eras evilkenje tai ore. Hos en kron gene Now that was just the facts. Just the facts.
Next one, an email?
One of the characters in the Iliad is Paris, the Trojan hero, who went off with Helen of Troy, took her to Troy, you see, and he was seduced by her quite a lot and spent a lot of time with her in her bed. This passage describes the situation where Paris actually leaves her bed and travels along into the battle again and into the activity that men do, you know. He ran in the confidence of his quick feet through the city as when some stalled horse who has been corn-fed at the manger, breaking free of his rope, gallops over the plain in thunder, to his accustomed bathing place in a sweet running river, and in the pride of his strength holds high his head, and the mane floats over his shoulders. Sure of his glorious strength, the quick knees carry him to the loved places and the pasture of horses. So from uttermost Pergamos came Paros, the son of Priam, shining in all his armor of war as the sun shines, laughing aloud, and his quick feet carried him. Suddenly thereafter he came on brilliant Hector, his brother, where he yet lingered before turning away from the place where he had talked with his lady. Ude Paris dating en Seloisi Domaisi Alloi Kepede Tatuch a Voichelig and Ho Suette Baitana Astu Pasi Kai by Thomas Most got a distant Posu Passacosti softly Is one never exhausting I will post Louis Diarrhea Spotimaya Am Fehler kein Teil, so muss ist Teil, vor dein Gleiche bebeut das Rindwache Guna, mich, Meta, Tetea, Vernamen, im Hos, Rias, Priamia, Ausgator, Acres, Tuchsipam Einung, Hosting, Lektor, Revalde, Aquala, Tacha Estepanes, Herbon, Aitza, Depetor, Hector, Dion, Etemenedil, Peon, Uda, Remelas, Sepsis, Echones, Party, or Ares de Gunat. Hector was the great Trojan hero, and he was to be killed by Achilles, the Greek hero. Here you have Hector fleeing Achilles. Achilles will kill him, of course. But Hector is filled with hatred and poisonous anger. But he awaited Achilles as he came on gigantic, but as a snake waits for a man by his hole in the mountains, glutted with evil poisons, and the fell venomous got inside him, and coiled about the hole he stares malignant. So Hector would not give ground, but kept unquenched the fury within him, and smote his shining shield against the jut of the bastion. And Gemim Achillea Pelorian Assoneanta Ude Drachon Efichae Oresta Sandra Genesi Bebracos Farak Edudetum Menchalasainas Smerdale on the Debraca Elisomnus Efichae O Sectores voiceless talking echo, vändas ovansjålen, purgo är min tro, kan inte en aste del resos. Överdet to min sjala science. Those passages were from the Iliad of Homer, translated by Richmond Lattimore. The final passage of the evening is from the Odyssey. This is Athena talks to Nausicaa and returns to Mount Olympus. This is our conclusion. We wanted to leave you on a positive note, and this is Mount Olympus and how everything is really great there, different from here, you know. So the gray-eyed Athena spoke and went away from her to Olympus, where the abode of the gods stands firm and unmoving forever, they say, and is not shaken with winds, nor spattered with rains, nor does snow pile ever there. But the shining bright air stretches cloudless away, and the white light glances upon it. And there in all their days the blessed gods take their pleasure. There the gray-eyed one went, when she had talked with the younger beloved. Hey mena hosai puse pega kore setene Uruantal vasite Operas aspides ae heaven Ujanamesi janasitai Ujipaton Rutibita Ujiti Epipunitai and a cat-like flame and been tired of the last beauty. Am I oh, and ain't that my marriage before? Came as a phantom that we met in the cold place that we met and cool rain.
Okay, Bill Exley and the Chaos Theory Orchestra. It'll never happen again. You can get copies from Dennis. I only have $50 a piece.
A friend of mine said that if I indulged my personal interests in this manner this evening, that it would be utterly certain that Eric would never invite me to come here again.
Okay, Free Music Unit's going to do one more set, and
I'm out of here.
thanks very much.
See you, Santa. That was okay? Yes.
If it was anything, it was fun. Yeah. And it was.
Yes.
Okay, you want to start now?
Yeah.
All these lunatics. You
Well,
included. That goes without saying. Okay, here we go. Hey, Brian.
Okay, here we go. Free Music Unit, our last set, just about 10 minutes. You don't have to go home after that. 10 minutes to play. Art Lang on bass, Jerry Fraser on drums, Eric Stock.
it's okay.